Hey everyone, my name is David Rao and I'm the music teacher who blogs at makemomentsmatter.org. You can also find my videos on Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter, a variety of other places when you search for my name, David Rao, or Make Moments Matter. Tonight I'm going to be talking about a lesson that I do for movement for beginning of the year for younger grades, but you could maybe adapt for older grades depending on how you want to do it. So I'm going to share that in just a second. If you hear me talk about a book, a resource, a cool technology thing that you might need, like you might in just a second, and you want to know where can I get that, I have a whole page on my blog dedicated to all the stuff that I talk about in these videos. So you can either go to my blog, makemomentsmatter.org, and click the video tab to find all that stuff, or you can just click the video link at the bottom of whatever video podcast, wherever you're watching, listening to this content. There should be a direct link somewhere. Let's see. Also, one more thing. If you want, there's a Facebook group where you can join and ask questions and make friends. It's called Every Moment Matters Music Education Community. Come and join us. It's going to be so much fun to chat and grow with you digitally online on the Facebook. Come and join. It's a great place. Okay, another thing, if you want to see me not through a computer or a phone or whatever, however you're accessing this content, I don't know, maybe you're finding it on, a VHS somehow. I don't know if that's possible, but maybe. You can always see me live if you want. I'm going to be at a couple of workshops coming up in the next few weeks. In September, I'll be in Austin, Texas, and also Missoula, Montana. And then also in the beginning of October, I'll be in Stevens Point, Wisconsin. If you're interested in learning more about any of that, go to my blog, makemomentsmatter.org, and click the About Me tab. All my upcoming workshops are there. Oh, let's see, one more thing. I'm going to be talking tonight about a Teachers Pay Teachers resource that I've made. That's one of the things I'm going to talk about. And actually, there's a big sale tomorrow, a Teachers Pay Teachers sale. And so if you want, you can get up to 25% off everything in my store tomorrow if you use the code BTS bonus 24. And you can think back to school, or you can just think BTS, like the K-pop group. And you can sing Dynamite as you find all the great deals and steals. Anyway, think about it. It's happening tomorrow, August 27th, and the following day, August 28th. So tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday. And it's a great place to get resources. Also, I have a gift card to give away. If you're on Facebook or Instagram and you want to be entered to get that gift card, you just need to comment about your favorite thing you heard in this video. And I will choose one person randomly and send them that gift card. Okay, this is your chance to interact and leave a little comment. Just leave any comment about your favorite thing you heard in this video, and you can be entered to win. Okay, and I will send you a direct message. If you get a link, somebody's like, hey, you won, click this link. Don't do that. There are Facebook scammers all over this last year trying to do that, so don't do that. But anyway, if you get a DM from me or a thing saying I'm sending you a direct message, that's how you can win the gift card. Okay, let's talk about this book. But first, one of my favorite things that I bought in the past year is this iPad telescoping stand. So some of you might know that I have something like this. I've shared before. I have this cool telescoping stand thing. It looks like the little jumpy lamp from Pixar. But instead of having a lamp on the end, this one, on one end, it has a clamp so it can clamp onto a table, a desk, whatever. And the other side has a clamp that can hold a phone. So I like using this if I'm recording read-alouds, if I'm recording videos, if I'm doing whatever. It was originally made for folks who do, I don't know, lifestyle blogs, or they're like, hey, watch me make this pie or whatever. And so they'll clamp it to a kitchen countertop and put their phone here so they can look directly down into the bowl or into the mixer or whatever. This is cool. I like it for my phone. I use it at home all the time. If I am creating a read aloud to do at school, if I want to take pictures of something, if I'm creating a video for something like this, like a Musical Mondays, it's fun to have that to hold. But at school, I needed something because I use AirPlay a lot in my classroom so that I can project whatever is on my iPad up onto the screen for students to see. But I needed a way to hold the iPad so that I could look down at a book, because I had a stand that it could just sit on and that wasn't really cutting it. So I found this online. It comes on I don't want to break it. It comes on a weighted pad down here. There's a long pole, and then there's the telescoping part on top, telescoping. the extendable part on top, and it expands to hold an iPad, and it makes it really easy to just move over a book so that I can take a direct view down at the book and then project that through AirPlay for my students to see. So you'll see kind of what that looks like in just a second. I have this great book called Lines That Wiggle. It's by Candace Whitman, illustrations by Steve Wilson, and I'm going to be reading this in just a second, reading parts of it to y'all. So basically what I would do with students is I would get my iPad stand, and I wouldn't have to use a wire. I have to use a wire because I'm trying to connect it to my computer tonight. But with my students, I would just use AirPlay through my Apple TV at school. Ooh, okay, so this is actually my school iPad, and you can see that it's sort of wonky little case. Anyway, so what I would do is exactly what I'm doing right now, except I wouldn't have this cord because AirPlay at school, you don't need that. But I would open it up and oh gosh, gotta put in my password. Hold on. Okay. So let me change the view here so y'all can see what I'm seeing. And if the sound cuts out, please let me know. Okay. Is that right? If you can't hear me, Facebook, let me know. Okay, and then let me switch around Instagram. Okay. Hope you can see that. Instagram. Okay, so what you're seeing right now is the main screen of my iPad, right? So you can go through, see my apps, whatever. But then what I do with kids is I just open up the camera app. So now, if I want them to see the book, I can adjust, readjust. There's the book. They can see it. So let me share part of this. This is Lines That Wiggle. And I'm going to quick type a message here on Facebook because nobody's commented anything, which makes me think that I'm worried that the sound isn't working. So I'm just going to quick put in a thing that says, if you can't hear me, or maybe I'm not, maybe Facebook is frozen. That's fine. I'll come back. Okay, anyway, so this is Lines That Wiggle. And this is by Candace Whitman. The really cool thing that you can't see in this book is that okay, thanks. Someone just said we can hear you. Thank you. Okay, the cool thing that you can't see is that this is actually like glittery lines and they're raised. So like if you put your finger on here, you can feel that. You can feel the lines. So, okay, thanks Facebook, you're here. Okay, cool. So the cool thing is that you can feel those lines. And so when I open up the book, kids can see the lines here. It makes a picture frame. The line comes up, swoops around here. There are birds sitting on a wire there. Here's a line making outline of a door. Here's the line making a mountain. Here's the line making telephone pole. Here's the line making a hill that the kids can, or the little monster can slide down. Okay. So let me just read a couple pages of the book. Lines that wiggle, lines that bend. And on each page I show like, where's the line? Where is it doing it? So we follow the line of the snake that's wiggling. We follow the line of the suspension bridge that's bending. And with kids, I always say like, oh, look, it's, hold on, let me take a picture of this. Uh-oh. Sorry, my iPad just went dark. Let me try this again. Okay. So with kids, I would say like, okay, maybe the bridge looked like this at first, and then when the elephant stepped on it, it bent. But anyway, so then there are more pages. So lines that wiggle, lines that bend, wavy lines from end to end. And this is a really fun page because they can see the lines going all the way across. And then they, obviously they're looking at the octopus underneath. But then we talk about the wiggly lines going all the way across. What are those lines? Those are waves. Lines that tickle, lines that sprout. So the tickling is the lines coming out from this cat's whiskers, and it's tickling that little girl in the picture. Lines that sprout. Ooh, this is a really fun one because I like plants, and I have a plant in my room, one that has a vine, and so I show them, the line is like the vine that connects all the leaves together. Ooh, and at some point I talk about, if you look on the page there, the words, lines that, that's in just a regular font, and then the action word, sprout or tickle or whatever it is, shows up in cursive, and it's fun to like point out what kind of words are those. I know maybe you don't read them yet, but they're cursive words. Bugs have lines that stick right out. Lines to trap. So each of the, there's the bug's antenna, Lines that trap, that's the intersecting lines of a spider web. Lines to hide, that's fun because these like giraffe sort of creatures, they're not giraffes, but whatever they are, have these long vertical lines, and then there's a creature behind it with long vertical lines sort of camouflaged. Lines to hide, two lines running side by side. So then these dotted lines are the two lines of these two bicycling monsters as they go. Lines that curve, lines that curl. So that's fun because it's the lines of sort of the wrap of the mummy. Underwater lines that swirl. So then there's a big whale that's blowing out of its blowhole underwater. So it's making these sort of bubbly, swirly, whirly lines that intersect and sort of come together. Lines that crisscross, lines that mend. So the crisscross is the net that's holding these monsters in place. And this is another cool thing about this this little iPad holder is that I can zoom in just by like pulling it down. I don't actually have to like zoom in with my fingers, pinch or whatever. I can just literally pull it down. It goes really fast. So for lines that mend, I like to show them, okay, there are these two pieces of the flower that have been cut apart, and the bee is pulling a little piece of string or twine or whatever and mending the flower. Lines with doggies at the end. Oh, they love this one because it's a picture of a cat holding on to like, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 dogs on the end of a leash. Except there's one that I think that's unleashed, or two that are just not on a leash. Lines that scurry, lines in threes. Now these are fun too because the scurrying lines is, well, it's not fun because they're bugs, but it's a bunch of bugs going up some monster's back. And then these lines are like dotted little lines, and the lines in threes are connected lines, and it's lines that are like three next to each other as they swirl around and whirl around. But it looks like it's going through like a Swiss piece of Swiss cheese because it's all these little holes. So there's sometimes where the lines disappear, but you know that they come back. So it's just really cool how it shows a lot of variety of lines and options there. Lines and leaves that grow on trees. Again, I grab my little plant and I show the back of the leaf to show where the little veins of the leaf are. Lines and leaves that grow in threes. Lines that twist, lines that sway. So the twist is the little dotted line of a highway moving around. Lines that sway is like the line in the grass as it waves back and forth. Lines that swish the flies away. These are lines in a horse's tail as it swishes off the horse. Zigzag lines up in the sky, showing lightning. Rainbow lines are way up high. And there's a huge black monster sitting on a rainbow, which I think is kind of hilarious. Whoop, whoop. And in the very end, lines are everywhere you look, so find some lines not in this book. And then it shows a bunch of lines that you've probably previously seen in the book, showing different places, lines at leaves, lines coming out of hair, the little bugs crawling, the bee is moving, the highway, the little lines of the leashes of the dogs. I mean, there's just a lot of cool lines here. The lines of the hidden animals, a lot of cool stuff. And then there's even lines on the very last page. And again, the really cool thing that my students don't even really get to experience is that these are like raised lines that you can feel with your fingers because it's like glittery sort of print coming off the page. So lines that wiggle, that's the book. Then what do I do with it? Well, there are a couple options, and let me show you one really quick. Let me see if I can just jump over to it. Let's see if I can do it here. Whoop. This is where technology sometimes works and sometimes doesn't work. Let's see if it'll work here. Oh, maybe it's gonna work for me. No, it's not gonna work. Okay, well, I gotta do it another way. Hold on just a second. Chrome. Nope. Okay, well, I'll just do this another way. All right. Actually, I could do it. Sorry, y'all. Technology. It always works so well. No, it doesn't always work so well. Okay, let me see if I can do this way. This is fun and wonky. Hello. There we go. Okay. Sorry, Facebook, if you're seeing this like crazy sort of view. So I've got this PowerPoint called Pathways for Creative Movement. This is a TPT resource that I made like, oh my gosh, like 9 years ago, like forever ago. But it goes through, and you could use this if you wanted. It goes through like teacher notes options for you, things that you might want pre-printed if you're going to do this. But then it just goes through with like a little like explanation. Like today we're talking about pathways. Pathway is a floor path. It's this trail that a person leaves as they dance or move through a room. Imagine if an owl were in the music room and they flew up high to perch on the room, maybe even on the ceiling, what would she see? If she sat very high up, she'd look down the kids. So then it shows like if the kids are moving in a circle, what would that look like? It might look something like this. And it shows, kids moving in a circle, and it shows what that circle shape might look like. Okay, that's their pathway. That's how they're moving. And then it overlays the picture of the circle on top of the kids, just to help kids kind of see. And then it removes the image of the kids so that my students can see what that pathway might look like. What if there were a different one? If they're moving across the room in a straight line, which of these two images do you think would be correct? And so I show there's one like a zigzag line and one with sort of a straight line. Yeah, if we're walking a straight line, it probably would have been this one. Okay, but if you're walking zigzag, it probably would have been that. So it just is walking them through what I myself could actually say in the moment, which is what I have been doing. So this is just another way, an option if you want. This resource comes with like 5 different PowerPoints for different kinds of movement in pathways. But if you wanted, you could show the PowerPoint. But let me show you what I do in my classroom, sort of old school. So let me go back here. Okay, hopefully Instagram you can still see. Cool. Okay. All right, so what I say to my kids is, okay, I talk about the lines we saw in the book, and then I say, I've got a line here. Here's the line. Let me just show you. Let me zoom in on this line. Okay, now this line is sort of like a curvy, swervy line. I wonder if my feet could make that line. Okay, you stay where you are, and I'm gonna walk this line. And so I walk through the room in sort of a straight line. And they're like, no, that wasn't it. I would say, okay, so then I jump around the room. I'm like, no, that wasn't it. Then I sort of walk in this curving pattern. They're like, yes, that's definitely it. That matches what we see on the page. So then I say, okay, great. So now let's see, you find a spot and see if you can make this pathway as you go. Great, so we try it. And then we say, okay, don't forget that one, but what about this? How is it different? How is it the same? So this is, instead of like a curved line, this is like a jagged sort of lightning sort of line. So how does this look different? So it's walking in a straight line, turning, walking a straight line, turning, walking a straight line, turning. So I let them try that. We do several different patterns. I say, okay, I'm going to show you another line, and when you hear the bell, get ready, because that means I'm going to switch to a new example to show you. So I do a couple of these, and then we get onto some things that are a little bit more advanced. We do like an L shape. They're able to go through and actually try out what does that look like. And then I give them, something maybe like this that looks kind of like arches, little like semicircles that are connected. They get to try that. That's pretty fun. I say, okay, I'm gonna give you a really, really super duper easy one. Here's one. Okay, so this is just a straight line with an arrow on the end. So now instead of going and coming back, they have to go and stop because they're only going in one direction. You're not allowed to switch and switch. You only have to follow the direction you've got on there. Okay, let's see. What if I don't give you that direction? What if I give you something different? What if I give you something like this? And now this is just a dotted line going from corner to corner. So I say, okay, you pick the direction you want to go. And what is that dotted? Wait. You can't just walk, because this line, the line with the arrow, that was a solid line, and many of you walked. But now it's dotted. So the dotted must mean you have to walk or move or skip or hop or something in a different way. It can't be exactly the same because it's a different line, right? And so they get to move and try in a different way. Okay, what if I gave you something like this one? How would you move? Now this is a line where it's like a little line and a square, and then a little line and then a square and then a little line. How would you move like that? And it's fun to see how kids come up with how they could move in different ways there. Or even something like this, where it's like, it is one long line, but it's like a short, dark line, a short, light line, a short, dark line, a short, light line. So they get a sort of like, how are you going to navigate? How is that going to be different? So we play around with lines a little bit. I've got here, I can show you. Let me back this up. I've got tons of different cards, like so many different cards with so many different options. I made these years and years and years ago with plans to use them for a different book in a different lesson. And I did use them with that, but now I'm like, hey, I could use them for this other thing. So I have like weeks and weeks and weeks of examples, things that they could do with these lines if they wanted, right? Like we could keep playing for like forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. But then I usually give them about, I don't know, 8 examples, not all the ones I showed you. That's just me showing you like, look what else we could do, okay? So I give them those like 7 or 8 basic examples. And then I say, let me show you another card that you could do. What would you do if I gave you this one? And this one is like a dot, and then from one part of that dot is an orange arrow leaving, and the other one is a blue arrow leaving. And they go, oh, wait, I guess we're going to have 2 people go together on this. Yes, you'll start at the circle and you'll both go in different directions. Okay, great. So find a partner. Okay, so they find a partner. They try. They say, what about this one, this new one? Now it's 2 dotted lines that intersect, right? So yeah, this is from movement, Samantha. Sorry, Instagram. I'm just seeing your comment there. So then they get to move 2 kids together in different pathways that intersect. Okay, what if I gave you this pathway? How would you do? Ooh, this is a fun one. How would you do these lines? Now this is 2 parallel lines moving with an arrow on the end, so kids have to move in the same direction. And then I followed up with this one, where it's 2 parallel lines, but the arrows are going in different directions. Now, again, for these partner cards, I have a ton of options, like so many options of like, what else could they do? Here, let me just show you several different options. We again try like maybe 6 or 7, and then usually we run out of time, move on to something else. But there are like so many more things they could do, right? Okay, so those are partner cards. That's where I stop currently in this my set of lessons, but let me show you some other things you could do with other resources in this set. By the way, the partner cards have red on the outside. The single movement cards have green on the inside. Uh-oh, my iPad just shut off. Hold on, let me turn it back on. This is the thing about my iPad. It's not supposed to do this, but it does. Okay, sorry. So the partner cards have red around the outside. The single cards have green around the outside. There's more. Of course, there's more. So then I say, okay, what about these patterns? So if they're in pairs, then I say, well, what about if we did this? You and your partner are going to have to do one of these little X's, and the rest of the class is going to have to do the rest. How could we make that work? Let me give you another example. Let's see. What if we had this? It's little purple X's together, and then, with a whole class, how can we move together? This feels a little chaotic when you're doing it, but it is so much fun because the kids are problem solving, they're trying it on their own, and they have so much fun with it. Let me show you some other examples of things that they could do in these large group cards that I show them for like different options. It is so hilarious to see how they adapt to these different things, like what they do. This one, it's one of my favorites when it's all parallel lines, but lots and lots of parallel lines. How are they going to move and do that together? There are just so many different things that they can do, different patterns, different examples. And then if you really want one more option, which maybe you're like, this is enough, we don't need any more. Then I have cards that are just, again, I'm thinking pathways, I'm thinking movement through the room, but now it's just movement words. How are you going to move? You're going to twist, you're going to creep, you're going to shuffle, you're going to twirl, you're going to wave. That as you're moving through the room, this is the way you have to move. What is that going to look like? Okay, so again, all of these come from, let me switch this out and see if I can turn us back around. Okay, sorry, Instagram. Let me put you back. Uh-oh, oh lordy, okay. Technology is really not my friend with this right now. So again, I usually do this with my iPad in this sort of cool contraption that I showed you earlier. And it makes it really easy if I just AirPlay the picture. so that kids can see all those different examples. They can see the book, they can see that example, and then they can move to doing things together. It depends. Obviously, this lesson is going to depend on how big your classroom is. It's going to depend on how much time you have, how many kids are in your class. I'm doing this lesson right now with, you could probably guess, a primary grade based on this book, Lines That Wiggle. I've done lessons like this with older grades, but instead I use a book called How Do You Waka Waka, which is another word. It's another book about like walking, moving. It's a really cool book. But you can level it depending on what you want the kids to do. But again, it depends on, do you have the space for it? How would that work for you if you were going to do it? On the links page for today, I put this cool iPad holder. I also put the resource that I was using, all the cards, also the PowerPoint, all of that. I linked that on the links page. But remember, it goes on sale tomorrow because there's a big TPT site-wide sale. So if you do that, wait tomorrow, you can get it 25% off if you want. And the other thing is that in the digital resource, if you're like, these are cool, but I don't want to print out all these cards, I have them as images. So you can put them in a PowerPoint or put them in Google Slides or put them in whatever if you want, instead of actually physically printing out the cards. But the cards are fun because usually the first time I will put it under the camera, under the document camera sort of thing, under the Apple TV, the AirPlay, and I'll show it to the whole class. And then I can take the physical cards and hand them out to kids and say like, okay, you got to do this card, switch when you hear the bell or whatever. And so you can have lots of different pathways going on around the room all at the same time, which is really fun. And you can't really do that if you're only using the digital resource. But in the digital resource, there are lots and lots and lots of options there if you want. Like I said earlier, I have a TPT gift card giveaway. So if you heard something really fun that you really liked, all you have to do to enter to get the gift card today is to leave a comment, either where Instagram, Facebook, wherever you're watching, listening. And I will just randomly choose a person and I'll leave a little comment saying, hey, you won. I'm sending you a direct message. If you get a thing that like asks you like, hey, click this link because you won, that is spam. That's phishing. Please don't click that. But anyway, tonight I'm going to go through and find a comment. I'm just going to send a person the thing. But all you have to do to be entered to win is to leave a little comment saying, hey, here's my favorite thing from the video tonight, yada, yada, yada. And then I'll contact you and get you that gift card. Okay, so like I said, the iPad holder, I linked that on the links page. The cards, all the different cards plus the digital resources, it's all just one bundle on TPT. I linked that on the links page, and I linked this book, Lines That Wiggle. This is a really cool book. Right now, I found it on Amazon. It's like $15.99 for hardback, and if you get the paperback idea, it's like $13.99, so like $2 more for the hardcover version. But I would actually look in your school library and see if they have it first, or look on a used book website to see if they have it first. I got mine from a used book website and I got it for way less than $15.99. So if you like gotta have it, really want it, and you want to use Amazon Prime or whatever, you can get on there tonight and get it. But I would look at like a used bookstore, look somewhere else, see if you can find it somewhere else before you buy it there. I will go back and add that other book that I just briefly mentioned called How Do You Waka Waka. That's another book that I will use for older grades if I'm going to be teaching this lesson on pathways. But I love doing this at the beginning of the year because it gets them thinking about how can they move. It also forces them to work as a group as they're moving around each other as a whole class. It also forces them to work in partners because I have them get into partners and do some of these patterns together. So it gets them up and moving. It forces them to think about their space in the room. It forces them to think about movement. It is creative movement, but it's not like, okay, we're all going to be the wind, you know? So it's like, it's fun that like it gives them something concrete to do. And it's really easy for kids who are like maybe not as comfortable moving right away to give them a way to get into creative movement early on in the year. Okay, like I said, if you have like a favorite thing from this video, if you leave a comment, I will reach out to one of y'all and say, hey, you want a TPT gift card tonight? Otherwise, I hope I will see you next Monday night for another Musical Mondays video. I know it's going to be Labor Day, but I'm still going to do a video anyway because you got to teach the following days. So like, let's share some more ideas. Anyway, I'll be back at you next Monday night. I hope y'all have a great week and have fun with your kids. And don't forget, there's a TPT sale happening tomorrow. You can get 25% off. BTS bonus 24. Just think, you know, Dynamite, Butter, you know, Permission to Dance. You think of your favorite BTS song as you're jiving on the website and go enjoy. Okay, everyone, I'll talk to y'all next week. Have a great night. Bye, everyone.